All right, so we've been doing systems of equations, and we did graphing where we see where the lines cross, and wherever they cross, that's the answer. And we've done substitution where one of the equations is x equals or y equals. And the last way that you can solve systems is using elimination, and that's what it says right there. So we're going to put elimination in the blank. Okay, so how do I know when is a good time to do elimination? Is if neither of the equations are solved for x or y, and in both of the equations, one of the variables is almost the same, like the same number is what we're talking about. So one of them is positive and one of them is negative. So in these two equations, if I look at the numbers next to y, the top one is a -3 and the bottom one is a +3. It's the same number and they're different signs, one positive, one negative. That's how I know it's a good time to do elimination. Because what we're trying to do is eliminate either both of the y's or both of the x's, and when the numbers are the same, that's how we get that to happen. So let's actually see an example. So it says, what is the solution? So we're going to identify which one has it almost the same. So if I look at this one, my x numbers are a 2 and a 4. Obviously, those are not the same number. So then I got to look at the y numbers. My y numbers are -3 and +3. Those are almost the same, so yay. What are we going to do? We're going to add the equations together. Big plus sign. Okay, so you would add x's with x's, y's with y's, naked numbers with naked numbers. So when we do 2 plus 4, we get 6. So we're going to put that adds up to 6x. Okay, and then we're going to add our y's together. -3 plus 3, we type it in the calculator, and it's going to give us a 0 y. That's good. When it adds up to 0, that means it's gone away. It has been eliminated. That's why it's called elimination. So that's good. We need something to add up to 0. And then over here we have 8 plus 16. That's going to be equal to 24. Okay. So when it's a 0y, that means I can cross this out. I don't need to see this anymore. It's gone. So what is my equation? My equation is just 6x equals 24. Okay, so now I'm supposed to solve for that letter. Well, now I had 2 equations and 2 letters. Now I have 1 equation and 1 letter because this is 0y. That's not there anymore. So I have 6x equals 24. How do I solve that? Well, we just divide. We know that's how you solve. Just divide. And I get x equals, and we type 24 divided by 6, and it's 4. Yahoo. Solve for the remaining letter. That's that. Now that seemed pretty easy. And you're like, Miss, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? Well, we know we're not done. We need another number in our answer because we know our numbers are in parentheses, and there's 2 numbers in our answer. And right now I only have 1 number. So what do? Well, I'm going to plug that number in. We're going to plug it into one of the equations up here. I'm going to plug it in for the letter x because it said x equals 4. I usually just plug it into the first equation. That just makes life easy if I always plug it into the same one. So I'm going to put this where the x was. So now this has turned into 2 parentheses 4 minus 3y equals 8. And now I have to solve this equation that I just wrote. I got to solve it for y so I can get my other number. Well, how do I solve for y? Well, we're going to type this in. 2 times 4. Well, 2 times 4, when you type that in the calculator, that's 8. We're going to bring down that -3y. We're going to bring down this 8. Now I need to get y alone, so I'm going to move this 8 from this side to the other side. So -8, -8. This is just normal solving equation steps. This is -3y equals 8 minus 8. We would type that in the calculator. We would get 0. And then we divide by -3. The -3 cancels out. 0 divided by -3. We type that in the calculator. We get 0. And then we know the last step is I need to write my answer in parentheses. something comma something. We know the x number goes first. So out of my two numbers, I have a 4 and a 0. Which number goes first? It's going to be the 4 because that was our x number. So final answer is 4 comma 0. Okay, so all you're doing is you add up the equations. One of the numbers needs to add up to 0. Okay, now we know sometimes special cases, we know we have our no solution and infinite solution. That still happens. Just because we're solving equations doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So no solution is when you add up your equations and the x's add to 0 and the y's add up to 0. If they both add up to 0, but the other side, the naked number, does not add up to 0. If it adds up to another number, a different number, like 7 or -5 or something else, okay? If you end up with 0x, 0y, and some other number, that means it's no solution. And our infinite solution is going to be, well, when it adds up to 0x and 0y, and the naked numbers add up to 0. If you get 0 for everything, then it's going to be infinite solution. Okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to go to the formative, and you're going to start on number 1. And all you got to do is start adding. Add your x's and y's and numbers together, okay?